Season 8 was the first season that we'd not won a trophy for the Bobbybarks trophy cabinet, and after finishing a disappointing 6th place with Fiorentina, meaning we qualified for the Europa League, I decided it was time to quit, because we had an opportunity to go back to England and not only challenge for the FA Cup, but also the Europa Conference League, as Aston Villa had qualified for it and their managerial position had become vacant. So here we are at Aston Villa, and we've left Fiorentina. Wasn't that hard a decision to leave. I didn't feel like we were going to achieve anything in that second season. If we'd have qualified for the Conference League, I'd have probably stayed, but because we qualified for the Europa League, I didn't really think we were going to achieve anything in that second season. We had to either win Serie A or the Coppa Italia, and we did go close with the Coppa Italia, but we had a fairly easy run into the final, and then when we came up against a decent side, we got thumped. And I didn't have that much money, I didn't think we were going to be able to improve the squad that much, and when this opportunity arose, Aston Villa's managerial position became vacant, and I saw that they were in the Conference League. I've got an opportunity to have a go at the FA Cup and the Conference League, and you don't get many opportunities for the Conference League, because it's not like you drop into it if you fail at the first stage of the Europa League. You've literally got to qualify now for the Conference League to have any chance of competing in it. So Aston Villa should be a fairly big club in that. Having an English team in the Conference League is probably a good advantage to try and win it. So looking through the squad that we've got at the minute, it is okay. It does need some improvements. We've not got that many defensive players. As you can see from here down, a lot of attacking players that we need to try and go through and have a look at what we can do here. So I'm going to be busy. So only the 2nd of July, we've got 2 months of the transfer window to go try and do some business. And yeah, we'll see what we can do really, and hopefully come up with a team that can challenge for the Conference League. FA Cup, yeah, but the Conference League is going to get me full focus and prioritisation this season. So let's go see what we've managed to do in the transfer window. Okay, I've binned off a load of players. We've made nearly £500 million by selling players that I just didn't want anymore. All these players were getting to an age, they were 30 or 30 plus, with the exception of Arizo, who is very good, to be fair to him, and is now worth 129 to 153 million. But I wanted the money. I think getting the money for all these, I mean, we got 81 million for him, we got 87 million for him, 66 for him. He's just left in real life, which is a bit surprising. He's only stayed 1 season. I thought he was fairly good. Villa fans might tell me different, but I know he was fairly good at Leverkusen. And he's probably kicking himself that he left and missed out on that Bundesliga title. Jacob Ramsey, long-serving Villa player, he's gone as well, 54, potentially rising to 68. Chalobah's gone. Miles Lewis-Skelly's gone. So yeah, I've made an absolute bomb, and I've spent 146, which is nothing compared to the 500 million that we've made. So in terms of who we've spent money on, this is quite a funny one because he's signed for Villa in real life, but I've brought him in here for 17.25 million. He's just basically a squad player for that left-hand side, because I've signed this lad, Karaoke, who looks exceptional. What a player this guy is, and he's going to be playing on my left-hand side in that inside forward role that we play. He looks absolutely stunning, and we managed to pick him up for just 13.25 million. Conor Bradley, Liverpool fans will be familiar with him. We brought him in as an attacking right back. We brought this guy in, 11.5 million. Again, looks fairly solid for that left-hand side. He can play left back. Alex Scott was available for free, so he's a Jacob Ramsey replacement, still only 28 and now worth 119 million, but he was available at the end of his contract, so we brought him in again, adding some English talent to there. This guy was his biggest signing. Again, he's a right-hand side striker as well, but he's got a reasonable left foot, so he's not really great at the inverted winger role that I play, but his attributes looked pretty good. And again, young English, 20 years old, I feel like he's going to be able to do a decent job for us. Familiar player there, Dragan Panic, 36.5 million. You remember I signed him at Ajax. He's turned in to an absolutely wonderful player while he's been at Ajax. He spent 2 seasons there, only cost me 2.5 million when I signed him originally, and he's only had 1 full season and now worth 36.5 million that we've signed him for. Value though 82 to 94, so he's a fairly decent bargain. So this is how the squad is looking. We've managed to reduce it down quite a bit. Like I say, sold a lot of players, and I feel like we've got 2 players now for each position that's going to be able to do the job for us. Notable players to look at that I'm not showing you that were already here is probably Andrew Futcher. I think he's come up through the youth here. Yes, he has. He looks pretty good as a defensive midfielder. It's worth between 41 and 57 million. Goalkeepers Martin van der Voort. Most of you will be familiar with him. And this is how the best 11 looks. Carioca's actually out on the right in this, and Illing's on the left. Andre Brown, striker. I'll show you him in a minute. Scott and Panic in the middle. Eistenson's the left back that I showed you. Livramento's here. We've got Fonseca and Lucas Smith. Defence was the area I was trying to strengthen a little bit higher, but I couldn't really find the players available. Got plenty of money to spend, but couldn't find the players that we needed. I will show you Andre Brown. He looks pretty good. Got good acceleration and pace, and good finishing and composure. Only 20 years old again, come up through the Villa ranks. Only scored 6 in 23 last season, but he's already got 5 in 4 for me this season in this formation. I think this guy's worth mentioning. He's actually been selected as the backup keeper in the best 11, but I think I'm going to start him. Again, young 22-year-old English goalkeeper. He's got 44 under 21 caps. He looks the business. I think he's going to be England's number 1 in the future. He's got 4.5 potential ability, and yeah, just looks amazing. So in terms of the schedule so far, we got off to a good start, beating Manchester City away 2-0, and then Leeds at home 5-1, beat Burnley 4-0 away, beat Brentford at home 1-0. So out of the 4 Premier League games, that's 4 wins, and we've obviously got through that first qualifying round of the Conference League against Genk, which I thought was a fairly hard tie for the qualifying round. And we only beat them 1-0 home and away, so it was a bit of a tricky tie. In terms of the league table, these are the teams that we've got to go up against, and I don't really see many big teams that I should be fearful of. There's Villarreal there. Spezia were a bit of a nightmare for me at Fiorentina, weren't they? Stuttgart are there, which could pose a little bit of a challenge, and Fenerbahce, Dynamo Kiev, Monaco maybe, but the rest are all teams that I feel like we should be able to get past. I think we should be the favourites for it. And in terms of us fixtures for it, we've got these teams to play. This will be the interesting fixture. Away at Monaco will be a good test for us. See whether, if we win that, I think that makes us favourites for winning this tournament. Average rating so far, 5 assists, 3 goals in 6 appearances for Carioca. He's an absolute beast. I'm really pleased we managed to find him and pick him up. He had that minimum fee release clause, 13.25 million that we managed to get him for. So yeah, he's going to be an absolute class act for us this season. So let's go see how we've got on in the first half of this season with Aston Villa, and I will join you back early January time. And after 4 straight wins in the Premier League, our 5th match was an away tie at Crystal Palace, with Carioca again getting on the score sheet in a 1-0 victory, making it 5 from 5. And Bristol City were up next, as they're now a Premier League club, but Cameron Archer volleyed from the edge of the box, giving them a 1-0 lead on 48 minutes. But just 10 minutes later, we had a bit of good fortune when Illing Jr. was allegedly brought down in the box, and the referee awarded us a penalty. Carioca stepped up to take it, and he made no mistake from the spot. 1-1. However, we just didn't have our shooting boots on, and the game finished in a score draw, with us having 21 shots to Bristol City's 2 and 70% of the possession. Next up was an away trip to Old Trafford against Manchester United, and when Panic's strike bounced back off the post, Carioca reacted quickest and played it back to Panic, and we were 1-0 up. However, just before the break, Kobbie Mainoo rose above everybody from a corner and made it 1-1. And United made it 2-1 on the 74th minute when Amad Diallo got too much space to run at his defence and blasted it past Van der Voort. Finished 2-1, and that was our first defeat of the season. We then got 3 victories from 3 with an impressive 4-1 way to win at Anfield and a 1-0 win at home to Spurs. And after 10 games, we were sat top of the table on 25 points. Things were going well in the Europa Conference League as well, as we got back-to-back 4-1 victories against Dunstrada and Dundee United. Next up was that trip to Monaco, and I thought if we could win this, it would put us in a strong position for winning this competition, and Alderton gave us the lead on 11 minutes. And we made it 2 on the 22nd minute when Banabe struck past Agarizabala to make it 2. And just a few minutes before the break, it was 3-0 when Samuel Illing Jr. tapped in from close range after a Livramento cross. On the 66th minute, it was 4-0 when Alderton got his second of the game when he reacted quickest in the box to head it home. And Monaco did claw one back as a consolation from Kamara just as the game was entering the 90th minute. However, it was our third successive 4-1 win in this competition and a wonderful result against probably the best team aside from us. I was really happy with how things were going at Aston Villa and I felt extremely settled. Thought there might be an opportunity to stay here for the full 2 seasons and go after the FA Cup if we didn't get it in season 1. However, when I saw that Massimiliano Allegri, the Real Madrid manager, planned to retire at the end of the season, I couldn't help but think that might be the opportunity to go to Spain. And because I had one eye on the Real Madrid job, our next game away at Leicester ended in defeat. After Kabanje was sent off in the 28th minute, we just couldn't get back into the game. Next up was a home tie against West Ham, and when Eistenson broke down the left, the clearance broke to Panic. His strike past Bento found the bottom corner, giving us a 1-0 lead on 6 minutes. And Alderton made it 2-0 on the 48th minute with a nice strike past Bento at close range. West Ham did get one back though on the 51st minute when Balogun struck it past Van der Voort from the edge of the box. But we put the game to bed in the 73rd minute when Illing Jr. broke free down the left and placed it past Bento. The game finished 3-1, but this would be our last victory for some time because we ended up with 3 draws in a row and then a 2-0 defeat away at Newcastle. We did get a 1-0 victory over Everton on the 21st of December, but the Christmas period was not kind to us at all. We didn't score a goal in 3 games and suffered 3 consecutive defeats away at Arsenal, at home to Brighton and away to Leeds. With only 2 wins in the last 10 games, we dropped down to 9th place. We were faring better in the Conference League though, as our remaining 3 games ended in victory, meaning we'd won every single match we've played so far, and we were top of the table, qualifying for the next round. Villarreal, Stuttgart and Monaco, the 3 teams below us, and probably our biggest challengers to this trophy. So the first 10 games were great, the second 10 games not so great, picking up just 2 wins from those 10. It has dropped us down to 9th spot and we have 15 points off Man United. I know I'm not bothered about the league, we already have that title in the bag. The FA Cup is due to start this month and the Conference League's going well. That's where all my priority is. I'm fielding the strongest side we possibly can in every game of those, and I think that's shown, particularly that 4-1 demolition of Monaco away, which has really kind of set the bar for us. Villarreal and Stuttgart are the other 2 teams that probably pose a threat to us, but we'll just have to see how we go. I'll be very surprised if it's not us 4 in the semi-finals, Villa, Monaco, Stuttgart and Villarreal. I'll be surprised if anyone knocks one of us out before the semi-finals, unless we play against each other before we get there, obviously. So this is the squad sorted by average rating. Carioca is still up there. He's got 17 goal contributions in 20 starts. He's actually been out injured since the 13th of December. He broke a lower bone in his leg. So he's missed these last 3 or 4 games where we've struggled, and it's been notable not having him there. We've had Ilin Jr. on the left and Andy Manley on the right, and Carioca's predominantly been playing on the right, to be fair, and Andy Manley's he's done okay, don't get me wrong, but he's not Carioca. We've also lost this fella to an injury over the last game. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks, which is a struggle for us as well, because he's a very good left back. He's been a good signing for us as well. I did go with Van der Voort for the start of the season, but Aduro was starting to get a little bit unhappy, and I thought, looking at the two, he's probably the better, to be fair. So I've started playing him in goal now. But yeah, Alex Scott's not really hit the heights I thought he would. Just 5 goal contributions in 23 starts and a 6.9 average rating. So yeah, we've done all right. I thought we were going to do better in the league. I thought, this is a fairly good squad, I think. So I thought we'd have done better, but we'll have to see how the second half of the season goes. We've still got a lot of money to spend, so we'll go do some business in the January transfer window, and I'll come back around February time and show you what we've been able to do. So before I show you the transfers ins and outs, I'm just going to show you the results for January, because they've been very good. We've won every game. We've got through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, beaten Cardiff away and beaten Crystal Palace away. The challenge now is, though, we've been drawn away to Chelsea. So that might end our chances of lifting the FA Cup with Aston Villa. In terms of the league, we've won every game. A good victory over Manchester City, 2-1 at home. Beat Burnley, as you'd expect. Beat Brentford, which could be a tricky tie. We beat Palace as well in the league, as well as the FA Cup. And we got a good 2-1 win away at Bristol City. So it's moved us up to 4th in the table, which I will show you there. We have played more games than everyone above us, and it's put us within 7 points of Man United. But we ain't going to win the league. If we can finish in the top 4, I think that would be a fantastic achievement for this squad. But like I've said before, the Conference League's got my priority. The FA Cup's got my second priority. So these are the ins and outs, and the only one to note really is Lucas Smith. He's gone out for 53 million, potentially rising to 66. He was adamant he wanted to leave, he wouldn't sign a new contract, and he only had 18 months left on it. Man United came in with a big bid. I didn't really want to let him go, but I have. I've let him go reluctantly. And then David Suluc, who we had at Ajax, I brought in for 5.75 million. Couldn't really find anyone else that I thought would improve the team, but he's a direct replacement for Lucas Smith. He's okay, he's got good passing, good pace, very good strength, good acceleration, and decent tackling. So he's only 22, Polish international, had him at Ajax. I think he'll be alright for us. I don't think he's an upgrade, but he's a like-for-like replacement for a lot less money. In terms of average ratings, Carioca is just coming back from injury. He's had 1 appearance since he's come back. But yeah, it's been a good January, and we've not improved the squad, which is disappointing considering we had enough money to spend. But it is what it is. There just weren't players available for us in this window to do what we wanted to do. So let's go see how the second half of the season goes and whether we can claim the Conference League or the FA Cup. The away trip to Chelsea in the FA Cup was a very tense affair. However, it was the home side that broke the deadlock on 33 minutes when Lawless smashed the ball past Van der Voort and into the top corner. And we just couldn't find a way back in, and the FA Cup hopes had gone out at the 5th round. Despite a strong January in the league leaders Manchester United came to Villa Park and beat us 1-0 in the first league game of February. We then only won 1 game from our next 5 fixtures with 3 draws and a defeat, with the only victory coming at home to Leicester. And as we moved into April, our first game of the month was a trip to Bournemouth. We took the lead on 27 minutes when Panic struck past Konechki from the edge of the box. And it didn't look like there'd be any more goals, but Friar Gaskell stole the ball off Kirkes in stoppage time, and Bernabe made it 2, with no comeback available for Bournemouth. Next up was a home tie against Forest, and again a 1-0 victory saw us take all 3 points. We then travelled to Chelsea in the league, but we just couldn't find a breakthrough as their goalkeeper was on top form. And in the 94th minute, Fonseca was adjudged to have fouled Scamacca, and for some reason, the referee, after consulting with the screen, decided to award a penalty. Enzo Fernandez stepped up and put the ball past Aduro, giving Chelsea all 3 points. It was a bitter pill to swallow, and it was their goalkeeper that got the man of the match. And as remaining 4 games saw us pick up 2 victories with good wins over Newcastle and Arsenal, an away defeat to Everton and an away draw at Brighton. It meant we'd finished the league in 6th place, which was a little bit disappointing considering how good I know we could have been. Back-to-back 4-0 wins over Dnipro in the round of 16 of the Conference League saw us go through to the quarter-finals, where we'd face off against that old foe from Fiorentina, Spezia, and claim a narrow 2-1 win at home in the first leg. And in the second leg in Italy, it took well the 25th minute, but Alderton deflected Panic's shot past Stankovic, and when the referee checked with VAR, he actually wasn't offside. And we made it 2-0 round about the 30-minute mark when Andy Manley broke free and chipped it past Stankovic with a delicate touch. And just before half-time, we made it 3-0 when Illing Jr. rose above Guga to give it a comfortable lead. But that comfort started to deteriorate in the second half when Spezia got one back just 5 minutes after the break. But in the 78th minute, it was a long ball from Kuda onto Raimondo, and he struck past Aduro to make it 3-2, and Spezia were right back in this fixture. But in stoppage time, we put the game beyond doubt when Leon Knight made it 4 for us and put us through to the semi-finals. And it was a favourable draw against Casapia as we won 4-0 in the first leg. A 5-0 win away from home put us comfortably through to the final, where surprisingly we would be playing against Belgian side Charleroi. I don't think there'd ever be a better chance for us to win the Conference League, and Charleroi couldn't made it any easier for us when a back pass was intercepted by Alderton and we were 1-0 up after 14 minutes. And on 28 minutes, wonder kid Carioca struck his 10th of the season with a fabulous strike. And just 6 minutes into the second half, Martin Alderton got his second of the game and he struck from just outside the 6-yard box to make it 3. There was no response from the Belgian side and we comfortably won this final and this competition. As the boys stood to lift the trophy, that was all the European competitions complete for Glory Hunter. So I said at the start of the video I was going to prioritise the Conference League, and that's exactly what we did. We won every game in this competition, and yeah, the league position and the league results suffered as a consequence, but I wasn't really going to get another opportunity to win this with such a decent side. So I'm pleased that we've managed to tick off all the European trophies, and now all I've got to worry about really is the Spanish League, the Italian League and the FA Cup. So if you wanted to know what happened to the other big 3 teams in the Conference League, Monaco, Stuttgart and Villarreal, Monaco went out in the round of 16 when they lost to Casapia. In the quarterfinals, Casapia also beat Villarreal, and Stuttgart went through to play Charleroi in the semi-finals, where Charleroi won on penalties and we dominated Casapia. So yeah, we did manage to avoid the other 3 teams, which was a bit funny really. I'm surprised Casapia and Charleroi knocked out Stuttgart, Monaco and Villarreal. I know we're not interested in the League Cup, but we did actually go out on penalties against Sheffield United at home. And as you know, we went out the FA Cup in the 5th round away at Chelsea, which disappointing, but it did allow me to focus on the Conference League. And if we stay with Aston Villa, we can focus on the FA Cup next season. However, Allegri is retiring from Real Madrid and I will be applying for that job. And these are the Premier League fixtures. It was hit and miss, wasn't it? We got off to a really, really good start but then it was just all hit and miss. This was an extremely bad patch round here, only winning those 2 games in 10. And then we had a fantastic run here, winning 5 games in a row, which was strange. And then again, bit of a bad patch, only winning 1 game out of 6, and then just slightly hit and miss towards the end. It did mean that we finished in 6th place, and they have qualified for the Europa League, which they would have done anyway by winning the conference. Man United actually dropped off, so they were top of the table for the majority of the season, but Arsenal actually pipped them at the end, and then Chelsea came in second. Chelsea only conceded 18 goals. So this is the squad sorted by average rating, and if I do go to Real Madrid, I will be coming back for this kid. He was absolutely sensational for us. 20 goal contributions in 26. I thought he was brilliant. Aduro did alright in the end when he came into goal. The other player that surprised me was Martin Alderton. I didn't really have him at the start of the season as a starter. We were starting the other lad that came up through the youths, Andre Brown. So we were starting him, and to be fair, he did alright as well. 11 in 11 starts, 22 sub-appearances though. But Alderton, he actually got 17 goals in 14 appearances in the Conference League, taking that competition by storm. So yeah, so that is it. We managed to claim a trophy, only 1 trophy in the last 2 seasons, but it's an important one, and one I'm glad we've got. We've now done 8 seasons, we've only got 7 left. We've still got to win the FA Cup, and we've got to win the league and cups in Spain and Italy. And so with the Conference League in the bag, that means all European honours have now been achieved. And with Allegri retiring from Real Madrid, our focus will be on trying to conquer Spain.